5 best Charles Schwab funds for 2026 and beyond. Let's get into it. And hi, if you're new to the channel, my name is Tay from Financial Tortoise, where we learn to grow our wealth slow and steady. Today, we're talking about Charles Schwab, one of the original discount brokerage firms that has been around since 1971. It was founded by, as you can guess, Mr. Charles Schwab, and on the idea that everyday investors deserve access to the market without paying a broker to hold their hand. And that DNA is still in the firm today. There are no account minimums, trades are commission free, and they have a fun lineup with some of the lowest expense ratios in the industry. So if you have a Schwab 401k through your employer, a Schwab IRA you opened up yourself, or a brokerage account you've been using for years, this video is for you. And one more thing before we dive in. I put together a free reference guide covering all 5 funds. Ticker symbols, key stats, what each one is for. Something you can print out or pull up on your phone while you're watching, so you're not scrambling to write things down. The link to download is in the description below, so grab your free copy. Alright, with that, let's get into it. Fund number 1 is Schwab Total Stock Market Index Fund, SWTSX. This is Charles Schwab's flagship total US market fund that represents virtually every publicly traded company in America, roughly 3,000 at the time of this video, from the largest household names like Nvidia, Apple, and Microsoft, all the way down to smallest companies most people have never heard of. Let's go over the main stats. SWTSX has an expense ratio of 0.03%, which translates to $3 a year on every $10,000 you invest. There is no minimum to get started, and the fund tracks the Dow Jones US Total Stock Market Index. Over the past decade, it's delivered an annualized return of roughly 13%. To put that in perspective, if you had invested $10,000 into SWTSX 10 years ago, and just let compounding do its magic, that $10,000 will be worth roughly $34,000 today. Essentially, you more than tripled your money by making one decision and then getting out of the way. And here's another thing about SWTSX. Most conversations about index funds focus on cost. And yes, $3 a year is amazingly cheap. But the real value of this fund isn't what you don't pay. It's in what you don't have to do. You never have to decide which stock to buy. You never have to figure out when to sell. You never have to read an earnings report or follow a CEO on Twitter or wonder whether a company is going to survive the next decade. You own all of them. Additionally, what makes a total market fund genuinely elegant is its simple selection mechanism. The index is designed to always reflect the actual market. What that means is that when companies collapse, they're automatically removed. And similarly, when a new company goes public and lists on the stock market, it gets automatically added to the index. You don't have to do a thing. And you get all that for $3 a year. Not bad, right? And there's an asymmetry in owning the whole market that's worth really comprehending. Within the stock market, the worst any individual company can go is 0. That is the worst case. We see them happen all the time. Toys R Us, Blockbuster, Borders Bookstore. But on the flip side, the upside is unlimited. Some company you've never heard of today will be one of the most valuable businesses in the world 20 years from now. And what is amazing is that you get to ride that journey up when you own a fund like SWTSX. So if you're currently investing with Charles Schwab, make SWTSX a foundational growth engine of your portfolio. Fund number 2 is Schwab International Index Fund, SWISX. Here are the stats. SWISX has an expense ratio of 0.06%, which translates to $6 a year on $10,000. The fund tracks the MSCI EAFE index, covering approximately 800 large and mid-cap companies across 21 developed markets in Europe, Asia, and Australia. Top countries by weight are Japan, the UK, France, Switzerland, and Australia. Top holdings include Nestle, ASML, Shell, AstraZeneca, and Toyota. So the big question, what do I even need an international in my portfolio? Well, let's step back and put the global stock market in perspective for a second. The US stock market is massive. There is no question about that. Thus, it represents roughly 60% of the total global stock market. However, that also means that 40% of the world's publicly traded companies, profits and growth are happening somewhere else. Europe, Asia, Australia, Latin America. Markets full of businesses that many American investors have never thought about and are not currently invested in. Think about brands and companies you already know from overseas. Toyota, Samsung, Nestle, ASML. These are world-class businesses generating enormous profits. And if your portfolio is entirely in US stocks, you own none of them. Now, I get it. It's human nature to invest in what you know. Americans know American companies. You use their products, you read about them. You feel some level of familiarity. International stocks feel distant, abstract, easy to skip, but familiarity isn't the same as opportunity. And here's a historical example that I think every US investor should sit with at least for a minute. At the end of 1989, the Japanese stock market was the largest and most valuable in the world. The Nikkei hit nearly 40,000, but then over the next 2 decades, it lost most of that value and stayed down. Japanese investors who never looked beyond their own borders had a multi-generational investing disappointment. The lesson here isn't that America is Japan. The lesson is that dominant market positions are not permanent, and we just never know what the future holds. And this also doesn't mean I'm pessimistic about the United States. I own a lot of US stocks, and I'm very hopeful. But I'm also pragmatic. You can believe in American companies and still think that other 200 countries are also producing great ideas, goods, and profits. Now here's something specific about SWISX you need to know before you buy it. The Schwab International Index Fund only covers developed markets, the wealthiest, most established economies outside the United States. What it doesn't hold is emerging markets. No China, no India, no Brazil. And Schwab doesn't have a low-cost fund that bundles both developed and emerging markets together in a single clean vehicle the way some other firms do. So if you want the full global picture, you need to pair it with a second fund, the Schwab Emerging Market Equity ETF, aka SCHE. It has a low expense ratio of 0.11% and covers major emerging economies like China, India, Brazil, and Taiwan. Now, for many people building a simple portfolio of Schwab, SWISX might be enough. But if having a complete global coverage is important to you, SWISX plus SCHE might be a more comprehensive solution. And how much international to hold? The general rule of thumb is to start around 20% of your equity allocation. Some investors go higher. If you want your representation to reflect the global stock market, you can go as high as 40% internationally. But some go lower or skip it entirely. There's no universally correct answer here. Pick a percentage you feel comfortable with, commit to it, and don't abandon next time US stocks have a good year. Fund number 3 is a Schwab US Aggregate Bond Index Fund, SWAGX. Here are the stats. With a 0.04% expense ratio, this translates to $4 a year on $10,000. The fund tracks the Bloomberg US Aggregate Bond Index and holds approximately 8,000 bonds, US Treasuries, investment-grade corporate bonds, and mortgage-backed securities from issuers like Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. So what role do bonds play in your portfolio? Think of stocks and bonds like a gas pedal and a brake pedal. Stocks are your engine. High risk, high volatility, but also the thing that drives long-term wealth creation. Bonds are your brakes. Lower return, but they slow things down when you need them to. And part of why bonds behave so differently from stocks comes down to how they're structured. When you buy a bond, you're not buying ownership in a company. You're lending money to one. In return, you get a fixed interest rate and a promise to be paid back by a specific date. That's a contract. There's no guessing, there's no waiting to see if a company will hit its profit target. Because of that contractual nature, bond prices are driven by interest rates, not by earnings reports, not by CEO drama, not by whether the market is feeling optimistic or terrified. That's why when stocks are selling off in a panic, bonds often hold steady. Now, there are 2 types of investors who really benefit from having bonds in their portfolio. The first is someone who genuinely struggles with volatility, even during accumulation phase when they're still decades from retirement. Not everyone can watch their portfolio drop by 40% and stay the course. If market swings keep you up at night and tempt you to sell at the worst possible moment, a bond allocation isn't a sign of weakness. It's a tool that keeps you in the game. A portfolio you can actually hold through a downturn will always beat a theoretically optimal portfolio that you abandon halfway through. The second is someone approaching retirement. This is where bonds become less optional and more essential. When you're still working, a market crash is painful but recoverable. You keep contributing, prices are lower, and time does the healing. But the moment you start withdrawing from your portfolio, the math changes. Selling stocks at depressed prices lock in losses that never get to recover. Well, bonds give you something stable to draw from while you wait for your equity positions to bounce back. A common pathway to bond is this. Start building your bond allocation roughly 5 to 10 years out from retirement and let it grow as you approach the finish line. Many experts suggest somewhere in the range of 20 to 40% bonds by the time you're actually drawing down your portfolio. Your specific situation will vary, but the directional logic holds. And Schwab US Aggregate Bond Index Fund, SWAGX, is an excellent way to hold that position at Schwab. Fund number 4, a great place to hold your cash, the Schwab Value Advantage Money Fund, SWVXX. But before I tell you what it is, I need to tell you about a specific quirk of the Schwab platform. When you have cash sitting in a Schwab account, dividends that came in, proceeds from a sale, a deposit you haven't deployed yet, that cash doesn't automatically earn a competitive return. Unfortunately, Schwab's default position for uninvested cash is a bank sweep that pays a very low rate, often below 1%. And this is not an accident. Schwab's banking operation benefits from holding those deposits at low rates. It's legal, it's disclosed in the fine prints, but most investors have no idea it's happening. Well, SWVXX is how you can mitigate this. Schwab Value Advantage Money Fund is a money market fund that holds short-term, high-quality instruments like commercial paper, certificate of deposit, and repurchase agreements. The fund is designed to hold a stable $1 per share value, meaning your principal doesn't move. And the best part? Higher yield. Currently at the time of this video, it is yielding approximately 3.7%. But something important to note about this fund, SWVXX at Charles Schwab does not sweep automatically. You actually have to manually buy it. You have to manually place a purchase order and wait for settlement. And when you want to use that cash to make a trade, you have to sell SWVXX first, which also takes a day to settle. This is different from how some other platforms like Vanguard and Fidelity handles cash. It's not a deal breaker, but you need to plan around it. If you have time-sensitive financial needs, make sure you're selling your money market position ahead of time. Bottom line, if you're investing with Charles Schwab, Schwab Value Advantage Money Fund, SWVXX, is a great place to keep your cash working at a reasonable rate until you need it. Fund number 5 is actually a family of funds. The one you pick depends on a single number, the year you plan to retire. These are the Schwab Target Index funds. But before you go to look these up, I need to tell you about a naming problem. Schwab offers 2 separate families of target date funds, and on a quick glance, they look almost identical. They have nearly the same name. Schwab Target 2050 Fund, actively managed, expense ratio around 0.5 to 0.6%. Schwab Target 2050 Index Fund, passive index fund, expense ratio 0.08%. One word difference, index, but one is almost 1/10 the cost of the other, and more importantly, they're fundamentally different products. The active version, the one without index in the name, has a team of portfolio managers making decisions. They're picking funds, adjusting allocation, trying to outperform the market based on their own judgment, and you're paying them for that judgment. But as decades of research have shown, most actively managed funds don't beat their benchmark over the long run, and the ones that do rarely sustain it. The index version does something much simpler. It holds a fixed set of low-cost index funds, US stocks, international stocks, bonds, in predetermined proportions, and shifts that mix automatically as you approach retirement. No one is making active bets. No one is trying to time the market. It just tracks the market at the lowest possible cost and lets compounding do its job. So before you invest in any Schwab target fund, do these 2 checks. Check 1. Does the name include the word index? If the fund is called Schwab Target 2050 Fund, that is the active version. You want Schwab Target 2050 Index Fund. Check 2. What is the expense ratio? Index versions run about 0.08%. If you see anything above 0.5%, you've landed in the wrong fund. Now that we have that cleared, let's ask the bigger question. Why would anyone want a target date fund in the first place? Now I admit, they're not the most exciting way to invest in the market. However, for the right person, it is actually the perfect product. And the reason comes down to a simple observation about human behavior. The biggest risk most individual investors face isn't market crashes. It's themselves. It's overcomplicating things, continuously second-guessing their allocation and making changes at exactly the wrong moment. Well, a target date fund removes those decisions. You pick the fund closest to your retirement year. Around 2050, Schwab Target 2050 Index Fund. Around 2040, Target 2040 Index Fund. You contribute consistently, and the fund handles everything else. In your early years, it runs aggressive, mostly stocks, small bond allocation, maximum growth orientation. As time passes and you approach retirement, it automatically dials back, shifting more into bonds and stable assets in what's called the glide path. By the time you're ready to retire, the portfolio has already been repositioned for income and capital preservation. You don't have to coordinate a single rebalance. For the service you're getting, a fully managed, automatically rebalancing, professionally designed retirement portfolio, it is a remarkable value. Alright, I talked a lot, so let me pull everything together. SWTSX is the core engine of your portfolio. Every publicly traded American company at super low cost. I firmly believe this should be a core foundation of every well-designed portfolio. SWISX as the rest of the world. But understand that this fund only covers developed markets. If you want to have emerging market exposure as well, consider adding the Schwab Emerging Market Equity ETF, aka SCHE. SWAGX is your steady anchor if you want to mitigate volatility during your wealth accumulation phase or if you're approaching retirement. SWVXX is for your cash. Schwab will not automatically earn much returns on uninvested money. You have to opt into this. But once you do it, you can turn your idle cash into something that actually works for you. Schwab Target Index Funds. These are for investors who want one fund to do everything. The automatic rebalancing, the glide path, the whole thing. At 0.08%, it's one of the most cost-effective, all-in-one retirement products available. Just confirm that you're in the index version. Again, if you like a summary of everything covered today, grab the free PDF in the description below. My gift to you for enduring this very dry and boring video for this long. Thank you guys for watching. If you'd like to see the equivalent fund selections for Vanguard and Fidelity, please check out my videos here. Until next time, all the best.